Oh god. Hey everyone, Steve from Make Your Own Fun here, changing my setup once again. In this video, I'm going to be looking at the Hori Wireless Fighting Commander for the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. That's the mini console that came out a few years ago. This is also a product that came out a few years ago, but I'm just having a look at it now. Now, it's basically just a Super Nintendo style controller, but you've got L and R on the front here. That's all there is to it, I reckon. There's turbo switches and a slow motion switch, and you still have L and R on the top there. This is just the box it came in. It's not an unboxing video per se, because I have it right here. So here it is, the Hori Fighting Commander, and just for comparison, here is the Super Nintendo controller that comes with the Classic Edition. You can see it's got the Classic controller slash Wiimote nunchuck plug. Putting it up to each other, it's a bit taller, because I think to accommodate the width of the extra buttons. Thickness wise, it looks to be about the same, except for this bit here where we have to insert the two AA batteries. So yeah, that's the size comparison. I think height is pretty much the same as well. Now, just giving the buttons an initial press, they all seem pretty nice. They all operate with the same kind of feel that the original Super Nintendo controller has, so that'll do us nicely. Now I'm going to test this controller in a few ways. First is the obvious, the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. So as you can see here, this is the PAL Super Nintendo slash Super Famicom design. I am in Australia, which is a PAL territory. Then I'm going to be testing it out on the NES Mini. Now these are, I think, are the exact same device, just with like different programming, so it should work without a problem. And then finally, I'm going to be using it on the PC using this Raphnet adapter. So that'll just go from USB here, and then I'll plug in this, which is the dongle that you use to connect the controller. It's a wireless controller, so this is some sort of, maybe it's 2.4 gigahertz dongle. So we should be able to test out if this controller can be used on the PC as well, you know, for emulators or any kinds of games that you want to play. Let's get started. Cool, so as you can see, I've got the SNES Classic hooked up. I'm just capturing it through a capture card on my computer. I've got batteries in the controller, so I'm going to plug in the dongle and then see if it automatically connects or if I have any troubles with that. Okay, so the controller has automatically connected. I literally didn't do anything, so I guess after the 3 minutes when this turns off, hopefully it uses not that much power, but basically it's always on, which is actually pretty useful. So let's just try it out on a few games as is natural. I would be remiss if I didn't try it on Hyper Fighting. You know, basically we've got 6 space buttons like with the Sega Saturn, but these two are the same as are up here if you still like to play that way. You know me and my flowchart Ken. You know, just gotta Shoryuken, Hadouken, Sweep Kick, rinse and repeat. Do all of those as needed. Oh god. Oh god. Yeah. Okay. Maybe it's just continuously switching with all the controllers I play, but... Oh, there we are. Seems fine. Oh, shit. Okay. Let's call that beginner's luck on Dalsim's part. Okay, so I've definitely lost this match. I'm gonna play... I'm actually just watching myself and I see my hands in the corner. So I'm watching the exact screen that you're looking at now. So I'm just gonna try one more time, just focusing on the game itself. Okay, so I'm gonna need a do-over on this one. Focusing entirely on the game now. In it to win it. Oh shit. Oh no. Whew! Sweep the leg. Come on, I'm on a hot streak now. It's gonna kick me from far, I know it. Oh shit! Come on, man, that was cheap. Can't just teleport right in front of me. Let's try the slow motion switch. Okay. Yeah. Oh shit. That's annoying. Okay, so this is a bit faster. Oh fuck. Come on. Get out. I want to hit him with a Shoryuken one time. Ugh, whatever. Good enough. Alright. Luckily, obviously, this is going to defeat the purpose, me sitting this close, for it being a wireless controller. Did you guys see me press the shoulder buttons? I might have accidentally, or out of habit. But anyways, that's it for Street Fighter. You know, so this seems to work fine for our purposes here. I don't know what advantage having the LNR right here, other than fighting games. Maybe it's useful for some people. I think fighting games are basically where the wireless fighting commander has most use. Who'd have thunk it? Playing Castlevania, it's not going to affect your experience too much. I gotta be honest, I'm just playing this to get some of this soundtrack into my video because I love it so much. Cool, so everything seems to work nicely on the Super Nintendo Classic. Now I'm just going to plug it into the NES Classic, and this is obviously still way too many buttons for it to be useful in the NES Classic, but let's see how it goes. Side note, I really hate the front port cover here. I get that, you know, when it's closed it looks really nice, but it's just an extra flap that I don't need to deal with. I'm going to boot up the NES Classic first. There we are. Got the NES Classic menu. Dongle in. Controller not working. Dongle in. Controller working. Easy peasy. Let's go with Mega Man 2. If anyone wants to clown me on my choice of first level, please go ahead. I really don't know. Oop. So obviously L and R don't do anything at all. So there's really no point in having this controller unless you just want it to be wireless, which is fine. So let's go for it. This would actually be a good chance for me to test out the turbo, so I'm going to turn turbo up on B. Getting in a triple shot with just one single press would be helpful. Anyways, that was good for a quick run. NES Classic confirmed to work with a Hori Fighting Commander. Now that's all that's left is just to test it on PC. So I've just got this Raphnet Classic Controller to USB adapter. It's probably most famous for letting you use Guitar Hero guitars for Clone Hero on the PC. But I'm going to be using it to test out the Fighting Commander. So this is going to be a super blind test. Like I don't know if it works at all. So this could be a bit of a fail in the making, but you won't know until you try. So let's do it. It has that old like mini USB type B or something like that in one end. Plugging it into my laptop on this end. So that's just the adapter itself. Nothing's happening yet. I'm not sure what this light in the middle is, if it's been blinking this whole time or if it only blinks when it's trying to sync. I'm just going to bring up the Windows USB controller manager. And so here we are. If you like to use any sort of USB controller on your computer, you may be familiar with this window. I'm going to press the buttons and they seem to work. So the D-pad has been mapped to 4 input buttons, which, you know, we're going to have to change using a program like X output. Interesting. L and R are mapped to Z axis and Z rotation, but also buttons 7 and 8. And then the other buttons are also just input buttons. And so I select and start. Slow motion works, it's flashing start. And I'm sure all these turbos work. If I turn these on, they'll just all keep going. Bit of a party happening. Turn these all off. Alright, I'm just going to map this to an Xbox 360 controller or an X input controller using the program X output, and then I'll come back with a game. So as you can see, I've brought up Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection. I thought this would be a good way to end the video. I haven't pressed anything on the controller yet. I really hope it works. Yay! Uh-oh. Okay. Oh, this is going to be bad. Alright. Yeah. So I've had issues in the past with having a controller via X output kind of be recognized. So I'm actually going to turn my X output emulation off. If you don't know what X output is, it's just a program. Whoops, that's Pickles the cat. X output is basically a program that lets you use controllers that aren't X input, which is like the Xbox 360 protocol, and basically emulates that, so they play nicely with games on the PC. I'm just going to turn that off, so hopefully that doesn't screw anything up. Okay, well, Pickles the cat is having a fun time. Okay, well, it looks like this controller isn't going to work via the Raphnet adapter on this particular game because Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection is honestly one of the worst games I've played when it comes to using controllers that aren't X input. So at least on the PC, that's going to be an issue. Be back in a sec with a new game. Well, what happens when Street Fighter lets you down? You rely on King of Fighters just to pull you back up. There we are. Now, I'm not sure if the controls are going to be right. Anyways, the controller feels really nice. Let's just play a single match. There we go, this feels nice. So, obviously, funnily enough, these games don't need 6 buttons, so this controller doesn't really offer anything in that department. But it is nice to have that kind of SNES feel, and it's wireless. I mean, there are wireless kind of feeling controllers, like the 8-bit controllers, in the SNES form factor. But, you know, if Street Fighter wasn't such a pain on Steam or on PC, then I'm sure this controller would come in useful. But until then, it seems like King of Fighters Ultimate Match it is. Alright, so wrapping up my look at the Hori Wireless Fighting Commander, I mean, it seems like a no-brainer that if you are in the market for a wireless controller for your SNES Classic or NES Classic, and you like this kind of design, that it works well. It does what it says on the box. There are other options though. You know, you could use the 8-bit receivers, I think, that you can use PlayStation 4 controllers or like these modern controllers. But if you like the kind of the small retro vibe, given that you add batteries into it, it is a bit heftier, a bit heavier, and it actually adds a bit of weight to it. So, you know, it's not so light, it's just flying around everywhere, it feels cheap. And if you like turbo features, like if you're playing shoot 'em ups or whatever, where you, instead of just mashing the button, you can just turn on the turbo and it either presses it for you or presses it while you hold down, then, you know, it's just like a lot of other products. You know, if the feature set is what you need, then why not go for it? As always, thanks for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.